Welcome to the Martin Bailey Photography Podcast. It's September 20, 2021, and this is episode 753. I was recently contacted by my friend Shawn Miller down in Okinawa to ask me for a phrase to engrave on a shell that he would place on a beach for a hermit crab to use as a home. I was very happy to participate, and it led me to look deeper into Shawn's wonderful project. And we decided to talk about this for the podcast so that I could share what Shawn is up to with you. During the conversation, I was impressed to hear how Shawn had used his photography to help conservation, and to find out that he'd done a TED talk on the topic as well, which you can find along with a gallery of images to illustrate our conversation on the blog at mbp.ac/753. So let's jump in and listen to my conversation with Shawn Miller. So Shawn, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
It's been, you were actually a guest 9 years ago when I first met you down there in Okinawa for the Pixels to Pigments workshop. And we spent a day out shooting together and everything. We had a really good time and lots of good memories. So it's really nice to be talking with you again today.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, and I never forget your clownfish shot, which you printed on that workshop. It's a beautiful image. You've still got it there. There you go. Look.
There it is.
Yeah,
still beautiful, still in great condition.
Yeah, it's a beautiful shot as well. But you've been really busy. Your photography and your conservation interests have really, I would say, matured over the years, and it's great to see you doing a project which we're going to talk about today. Before that, I mean, what's been going off? It's been 9 years. As I know, we keep in touch sort of on Instagram and Facebook and whatever. But what's been going off? Anything interesting other than the project, which we'll get into?
Yeah, same old thing. Still training the U.S. military on egressing, how to survive helicopters that crash in the water, and basic water survival skills. So I'm still doing that. Also, teenagers now. So staying busy with sports and bukatsu and all that stuff. Yeah. So they're just nonstop. So that's taking up majority of my time. But other than that, I try to sneak out and take photos at night. That's really the only time that I have, or really early in the morning. But yeah, same thing, just concentrating on, the hermit crabs and anything else endangered or whatever I could find, So it's exciting.
Yeah. I saw in your bio photo that you sent us, you've got a 7D there. Are you still shooting Canon, or have you switched out?
I still currently have, I use the Canon 70D and 80D on land. Yeah. And underwater, I use a D500 Nikon.
Oh, okay. Is that because of the availability of the housing and stuff?
Yeah, no, not really. But it's because of, first, I got a great deal on it from a friend. And second, you could do rear curtain sync underwater with Nikon, where Canon, you can't do that right now, but maybe with the strobes that come out later, you can do that. So, when you do the rear curtain sync to create motion. So that's one of the features that I like, about Nikon. Yeah. Because it's in the body, where Canon, you have to have like the Canon flash to do it, right? A lot of the strobes, the older strobes, you can't do any of that, but I'm sure that's a new technology they'll be working on. Yeah. Well,
it's nice to see you with a foot in both camps, and
So it's fun.
Yeah. So tell us about the project that you're doing. You kindly asked me a couple of weeks ago for a caption to put on a shell that you were going to carve for hermit crabs. Tell us a little bit about this project.
Yeah. Okay. So in 2010, I found my first hermit crab adapting with a PET bottle cap. And when I found it, I was absolutely amazed and just mainly curious, like, why is this crab adapting with a piece of trash, a piece of plastic? And so I wanted to find out about it, and I was absolutely just obsessed. And I just went home and researched, couldn't really find anything out about it. And I even put it on the I contacted an editor from National Geographic because I thought, oh, this is so cool. You know, this is going to be a big story. But what I failed to realize was the image wasn't even that great. The content that I gave him wasn't even that great. Right. So, and they're basically like, hey, yeah, just put it on the Your Shot page. And I didn't hear anything from it because it wasn't anything spectacular. And then, after that, years went by. And then in 2013, I started finding a couple more here or there. And then in 2014, once I started really focusing on the coastal forests during the night and certain areas that had lots of trash, and I started finding a lot of these hermit crabs adapting with their waste. So I decided to start the project called Crabs with Beach Trash Homes. And I was like motivated to photograph as many as I possibly could and almost obsessed, right? And just the curiosity and just I was really fascinated that the crab had the ability to adapt with their waste and successfully do it. So I was just really interested in just learning about this crazy behavior, right? So I just kept going out, and it really gave me it was a really good opportunity for me to focus on like my lighting as well as just photography skills. Because, you see a hermit crab and most people think they're fairly slow, but at night they move pretty quick, and you're trying to hold a light, you're trying to, do everything if you're trying to hold a light box here or there. And so, it's technically, it can be pretty difficult. Right. And so I just worked on that, and then eventually, so I did that. I started that from 2014. And as years went by, things started to progress. And then in 2019-20, I started the project called trading plastic for shells. And basically that is where, after I find these hermit crabs adapting with their waste, what I'll do is inside of my backpack, I have multiple shells, right? These shells. And so I photograph the hermit crab first in its natural habitat, and then I place it in a beach bucket with an assortment of shells. And I give the hermit crab the chance to switch on its own. So it does everything itself. I don't do anything. I allow it to do it. And I give it the time to actually do it itself, right? I don't force it. And sometimes it happens within 3 minutes. Sometimes it takes 3 hours. So it really depends, right? So, and then what I do is then I release it back into the environment and I keep the plastic. So now I have this huge plastic collection instead of shells, right? So I have all these plastic collection, glass, all kinds of different assortment of things. So I could show you a picture of it later. But so then that progressed. And then a gentleman in 2020, he kept bugging me. Basically, actually before that, he kept bugging me about like, hey, you should give some shells, you should put empty shells on the shorelines for these hermit crabs, right? Because obviously the issue is there's not enough available homes, seashells for these hermit crabs to use. So they're adapting with plastic, what they have available. And the issue is, Okinawa is a popular place for tourism, right? Millions of people before COVID. I mean, millions of people were coming here. I think 3 million to something a year, right? Something crazy like that. And just imagine if even half of those people went to the beach, right? And every one of them took a shell off of the beach, right? So that's a million and a half or so shells being taken away from tourism, right? Alone. So you think of it in that perspective, right? And where most people don't realize that they're potentially taking a home away from hermit crabs. So those shells are eventually going to be used by those hermit crabs, right? So that was one of the big problems. That's one of the big problems here as well, right? So so then what I started doing is I started getting these shells donations from a variety of people, and then I started marking them. So I started engraving them. So that way, if they did find them, they would realize like maybe, oh, I'm going to leave this here. This is here for a reason. And then I mark them with a number in a logbook, and I document all this stuff. Right. But it's out there to, that was the reason. And then after I would just put my name like Miller 11, for example. And then later I was like, you know what, there for people and actually get people involved and do something like a good deed, an act of kindness, and really try to get other people involved in this project and not just myself. It's sort of like my act of kindness, but I also wanted to see and hear other people's message, right? So that was the cool thing about it.
Yeah. So that's amazing. How you've taken that, and it's been since 2014, 7 years now, and even longer since you got started. So when you contacted me, I felt a bit stupid, and I feel a bit stupid now as well, because I'd seen some of your plastic cap and hermit crab photos on Instagram, and I knew that there was a problem there, but I didn't really connect the two. So when you asked me a few weeks ago, what do you want to engrave on your shell? The first thing I thought of was, this is probably going to be traded out for a plastic cap, because I've seen that happening, and I sent it back. No more plastic caps, or something like that. No more plastic caps.
Yeah, more plastic caps.
And you carved it and did it for me. But when I went back to Instagram, the first photo that I saw there was one of yours, and it was a hermit crab in a plastic cap. And I thought, he thinks I'm being really original now. But it was obviously it's something that stuck with me. So this is the conservationalist aspect, really, because you'd embedded something into my mind about the problem that these crabs are having. And, earlier you talked about, say, if half of the people take a shell, I thought where you were going was with that is if half of them drop a plastic cap. And hopefully, half of them dropping plastic caps would be pretty bad. And I'd like to think that a lot of those things, it's like you've got photos. What I'm going to do is embed. You've sent me 10 photos, the majority of which are a variety of caps and broken bottle tops and things that the crabs are using. I'm going to embed all of these in a gallery in the blog post for this, so that people can come and see that. What's amazed me is, as I was going to say, I thought you were going to talk about people dropping caps, but a lot of them are. It looks like one of them is the measuring cup for baby's milk. Yes. And it's still got the long handle on there, and the crab's running around with this great big handle on. One of the images that you have, I know, it's a bend in a plastic pipe. These guys are struggling to find a home, like you say. So it's really cool that you are raising awareness on this problem. And the deeper problem there, of course, is the ocean plastic, or the microplastic, which is causing havoc for the environment. And so what I was going to say there is I would like to think that the majority of the caps that are ending up on the beaches or houses for hermit crabs are a mistake. Someone, maybe the wind blew them off or something. But, the trashing or littering is still a problem. And I think, with some areas, people aren't so concerned about the environment. I saw a portion of one of the news programs recently where they were talking about people climbing through barricades to get down a pier to go and or a wave break sort of thing, to go out there to fish. And this one guy came back, and before he broke the law again by going through the barricade, he took the cap off of a plastic bottle and threw the cap in the sea. And it's like, it wasn't a mistake. It was just plain littering. And I'm thinking, where have you been for the last decade or so? Do you not realize that this is absolutely destroying the environment? And so a lot of it is just blatant littering, and it's inexcusable. I think there should be really high fines for people that do stuff like that. And then, of course, there's things like you get the tidal wave that happened in 2011, and that just takes everything out there. Even a lot of trash a lot of debris from Japan ended up in the US and Canada because it crossed the Pacific, So those sort of things, you can't, nobody wants the tidal wave. Nobody wants to lose their house or their life, the family, to a tidal wave. But that happens. That's one of those things that, we really can't do much about. But it is good. On another related note, it is good that Japan is now doing a lot more about plastic. Did you see the other day that Lawson, the convenience store, are going to be starting to sell oden, where you got the various vegetables and things in soup. They're going to be selling that at I think it's a 15% discount to anyone that brings their own saucepan or
awesome.
Tupperware. We're going back to the way things were done 20, 30, 40 years ago. People used to go to the corner store with. I used to take a Tupperware to the sweet shop and get it filled up with ice cream, and you take it back home and share it with the family. And so we need to get back to a lot of that. And I think that
I agree.
Your projects are helping to raise that awareness.
For sure. Yeah. So that's the whole goal with the project was when I started, a lot of times I'd go out by myself at night, and when, after a while I would see all the trash that was washed up on the shore, and it was almost depressing, and I almost got depressed, looking at all this. And so, I figured it's like, man, I got to do something about it. I see this, but other people are not seeing it. Like you said, they just walk right by it and they look at the beautiful ocean and they pass by all the trash and don't see it. So I figured I wanted to bring my whole reason why the project was to bring awareness to this plastic pollution issue, and try to inspire people to try to do simple things, like you said, from using a reusable resource instead of buying a plastic single-use bottle, right? Or water bottle, bringing a tote bag or a reusable bag instead of using a plastic bag. So just making these small little steps. And then once you make the small steps, then everything else escalates from that point, right? And it grows. So if you could get people to really just inspire them to care more about nature. So that's what I try to do. And that's why I enjoy showing every aspect of nature, from underwater, from the endangered species, lizards, snakes, anything, right? I'll photograph it. And I just really want to inspire people to get out and care more about nature, right? Because we're losing, like people say, the connection with nature. We're losing it. We don't care. And a lot of people don't care about it anymore. They're more concerned with their personal stuff than anything else. So it's pretty crazy.
I think that's one good thing about photography. One of the many good things about photography is that it opens your eyes and makes you aware of, you take an interest in something enough to want to photograph it. You start then to take the whole thing to a new level. And that's one of the beautiful things about photography. I noticed in your bio, you have 3 species named after you. Tell us about these. What are they? Are they all crabs or various things?
No. These are marine gastropods, so seashells. And so they're all seashells. And I used to be a huge shell collector. Like when I was a teenager, I was fascinated with these shells, with the intricate designs, and beautiful patterns, and the snails. They actually create the shell, right? So and then what happens is the predator will eat the snail, they'll die, and eventually a marine hermit crab will move into them. Or if it washes up on shore, a land hermit crab will move into them. But I was always fascinated with them, so I got heavily involved in collecting them and trading them worldwide. And then I would collect samples of sediment and all this stuff, and I would send it back to museums or authors around the world. And eventually, I was able to get 3 species named after me. And the most recent one, which was in 2020, is Calliostoma Shawn, and it's this beautiful, like, ice cream cone looking shell. And it's so unique because I've been diving here forever, but I finally found it. It took me this long to find it because it lives on fire coral in these little crevices and cracks. And obviously, if you were to touch the fire coral, you're gonna get lit up, right? You're gonna get hurt, right? Stinging hydroids, basically. And but it's just. So they're seashells, And so now, with me being a previous collector and taking things, now what I'm doing is I'm giving back. I've given back a lot of my collection. I've thrown a lot of it back into the ocean and given it back to nature. I also inspire people to do the same. So if you have shells that are laying around that are unwanted or you don't need, then give them back to where you got them. You collected them from, right? Because you don't need to have all these shells laying around. And also teaching people to not over collect, because there's nothing over here. There's no laws that say you can't take shells. You cannot, there's no law. So it's legal to do so, but ethically, you just need to think about what you're doing, right?
Yeah. I mean, they're a nice memento. Everyone, especially you're young, you go to the beach with your girlfriend and you're wandering along there and you pick up a few shells and take them home. And
oh, for sure. Everybody's done it. I'm definitely guilty of it. And there's a lot of people of it, but they don't think that they're actually taking a potential home of a hermit crab,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah.
and when I tell people that, they're like, "Oh, I feel so bad. I had no idea," right? And then they bring their shells back to the coastline or the coastal forest or the shoreline, and they return it. So there's actually good things going on. I'm educating people on this process of over collecting.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's a good
yeah.
thing.
I mean, as you say though, I mean, not even over collecting. If you take one or two shells, if like you say, if there's 3 million people go and
Yes,
every half of them take a shell, that's still a
exactly.
lot of shells. It's something to
Yes,
think about. I
exactly.
mean, there
Yeah.
are rules. I mean, it's like you're not allowed to take any part of Mount Fuji home with you.
Yep.
Yeah. So
People still do though, right? People still
yeah,
sneak
but
rocks, I'm sure.
I think because people know that you're not supposed to, though, it's going to stop at least some of them. You know,
Correct.
like an old friend used to say that locks on doors only stop honest people.
Yep.
You know, so it's like I think there should be something in place, especially when you consider the problems that these crabs are having. I sent you a screenshot of the 10 images that you sent me earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk a little bit about some of them. I mean, like the first one, for example, it looks like it's got half of a plastic ball on its butt.
Yeah,
I
yeah, that
mean,
was really unique. I don't know what that ball came to, but it had a twist top, so
yeah,
it obviously went onto something. It almost looked like a stick shift from a car, right? But it
yeah,
wasn't.
yeah.
Yeah, and I thought that was when I found it. I was like,
It's
"What the heck
actually,
is
it
this?"
really
Yeah,
suits it. Actually, I mean, when you think about it, because it's same sort of blue in there, but
yeah,
obviously, it's not great that he's having to do that. But I think that's actually one of the ones where the crab might be saying, yeah, you know what, I kind of
yeah,
like my plastic
yeah,
butt.
yeah. They
It's
they enjoy it. Yeah,
yeah.
it almost seems like it.
And then you've got a number of them. I'm going to open the actual images so that I can see them more.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got in after that you've got one with a see-through. The third one in the list, it's got a see-through cap on there. That's pretty weird. You can because they've only got a pretty tiny abdomen, haven't they? That they stick
Yeah,
in there.
yeah. It's actually bigger than you expect, but somehow they jam it in there, right?
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, it's pretty impressive. Like
yeah.
you don't think, like, a lot of times people see these images and
Mm.
they think that they're staged or they're fake.
Ah,
Because when you look at an actual hermit crab when it's naked, it has this long abdomen and
mm,
it's fairly big, but somehow they jam them in there,
ah,
and so it's pretty impressive how they do that.
wow. So on the fourth one, it's the top of a broken off of a bottle, so it's like the
Yes. Yeah.
glass. That's pretty like not shocking, but it's makes you feel really sorry for these guys, doesn't it? It's having to walk around with a piece of broken glass on its ass.
Yeah, it's at the same time you feel bad for them, but at the same time you feel it's pretty amazing that they have the ability to adapt with it, right? And
Yeah,
so it's
yeah.
in that sense it's impressive as well, right? And I've probably found maybe 6 or 7 that have been in glass bottles just like this, very similar to it.
Wow, wow.
Yeah,
And then let's see, next one's another plastic one. I love the color of the crabs, that sort of a violet purple
yeah,
color.
yeah. They call it a blueberry hermit crab.
Blueberry hermit crab.
Yeah, and
Wow.
they're protected species. All the hermit crabs on Okinawa have been protected since 1970 or 72, I believe.
Oh, wow. Wow.
But nobody really enforces anything, obviously,
Mm.
with the hermit crabs because they are abundant. I mean, there's millions of them here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, they're everywhere.
Yeah. I don't think it was probably, I think it was like a reddish color, but I got one shot of one when I was down there in
Mhm.
2012. It wasn't one of these the blueberry ones. It was just a regular sort of orangey coloured or yellow sort of
Okay.
hermit crab. But they're cute, aren't they? They're lovely
Oh,
little
definitely.
creatures.
Yeah, they're really interesting creatures, and the more obviously you learn about them, the more I see them, I learn more about their behavior. They're pretty fascinating creatures.
Mm-hmm.
So
And then
yeah,
we have the one with the milk spoon thing on there.
yep,
That's the
yeah.
big paddle sticking out to the side.
Yeah, and I've found like 3 of them like that, different colors of these
Wow.
spoons, and
Yeah.
it's usually I'll see them and I'll take small video clips just using my iPhone. But they're not very streamlined when they're walking, obviously, because they have something to catch on, right? So they're not fast. But some of these other ones with the plastic caps, they're fast.
Oh yeah,
because they have this lightweight mobile home, and they move with the purpose.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
And then towards the end, image 5500 is the one that jumped into my shell, or the shell that you carved with my no more plastic caps. I'm quite humbled by the fact that it's, there's now a crab wandering around with a shell on that you beautifully carved. So yeah, it's nice that you sent that photo. And again, I'll put these in the blog post. But is there? Well, I guess the question would be, what do you use to actually carve them? Have you got like a little like a jewelry carver, or
I have it's called a Dremel tool.
Oh yeah.
I use a Dremel tool, and I've been I used to be really big into art, about 18 years ago. So I did a lot of carving on shells. I did inlay work with shells and wood. And so I've always been fascinating with doodling and carving. And so now it's finally come back, and now my hands are coming back. So the more I do it, the better I get. And now I'm on number 407 that I've carved.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I'm going for a minimum of 1,000, then I'll see where I go from there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
that's crazy.
It's pretty, it gives me something to do. And I actually enjoy doing it. There's other ways I could be doing this. I could label them differently and mark them with numbers, a much easier way.
Yeah.
But it's really like relaxing for me to do it this way, and it's more like personable, right?
Yeah.
So,
but look at, I mean, again, if you think about the goal that you are sort of working towards here, that we're sitting here now talking about your project because you asked me for a name, for a quote to go on it. I didn't realize that you were doing this until then. So it's actually helping you to reach a larger audience because of this sort of thing. Just by connecting with various people to get these little phrases to put on them. So it's to me, it seems like I know it's not necessarily marketing, but as a business person, thinking about this, it's a pretty amazing thing that you've done. Just to, the whole process of asking for these quotes and stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting, and at the same time, it's interesting. I'm learning, they're learning. I'm informing everybody about the situation. I'm learning about them, and at the same time, when I post, these shells, and then I post them on, I also learn about the person, right? And I've also had people that have asked me, "Can you put my mom's name on it? She passed away." Or and so I'm like, "Sure, no problem. I'll do that for you." So and then I learn about the person. I read about them, and I learn about them, because one thing we don't do enough, I think, is we don't read about the people that have perished or passed away. We sort of forget about their history, and so when you read, it's really opened my eyes to learn much more about human behavior as well. And like I said, it's my act of kindness, and some people will respond to it, some people don't, and I'm not trying to get anything out of it. I'm not trying to, if people want to donate to the project, that's cool, but I don't ask them to. It's one of those things where it's just like, it's my act of kindness, where I feel like, you got to do things that are good. And this is one of the things I could do good for people, is give them a chance to have an important message. Like, if you had one important message to tell the whole world, what would it be? And there's a chance that somebody could pick up this shell, more than likely. So the shells that when I put them out, and the large hermit crabs, they generally don't come out until the nighttime because they're smart and wiser. So nobody has found any of these shells yet, other than me. I found, about 30 of them, just keep walking the beaches, so I know where they're at. But other people haven't found them yet, but they will. And some people might take them, yes, of course, but some people might read them and it might change their life, right? An aspect of the message might, or they might realize, like, what am I doing here? Why am I taking these shells? They belong to these hermit crabs, so there's many different things that this project has opened my eyes to. It's given me a purpose, right? Because I've been photographing for really concentrating, like, addicted to it since 2010, nonstop, Martin. Just like 200 300 images a day, just obsessed, right? So just going crazy. I would take my camera everywhere with me every day. So just gone crazy, right? And so now it's like I've seen a lot. There's many more things to see, but it's like I got to have a purpose because I'm just taking pictures of all this other stuff, and now I need to create content and stories. And so this is where I finally found a project that's like sticking, right? It's good. Yeah.
Gives you purpose, and
it's exciting, you know. So,
and I'll include a link to your Patreon or Patreon
awesome. Thank you.
project in the post for this, so people can go over there and support you if they want to. I'm going to ask a few more questions if I may. Has there been, over the years as you've done this, or got into this and really built on this project, have there been any moments that were like really emotional, or anything super cool that happened along the way? Or
with the which, like I said, in 2010 when I first posted that image, right, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be so amazing, it's gonna get published in National Geographic, but it obviously didn't, for those reasons I told you. But then finally, in 2018, it was featured. One of my hermit crab images, adapting with trash, was featured in Planet or Plastic, National Geographic, which is one of the most. And it's one of the most powerful issues of all time that brings awareness to this worldwide plastic pollution problem and ways to reduce it. So that was like the biggest moment, because I was like, finally, it saved it for this massive moment, and that was awesome. Right?
Brilliant.
That was cool.
And probably, I mean, just the years that you've been doing it by then, it's more like, okay, we need to talk about plastic caps and crabs. Who do we go to? And by that point, you've got all of the SEO behind you. You've got the years of photographs. So it's like, Shawn Miller down in Okinawa. Everyone knows him. He's the guy to go to for hermit crabs with plastic asses.
But at the same time, I'm not a professional photographer that works for a big agency. I'm just a part-time amateur, basically, photographer. So I don't have that backing. So obviously some things are much harder for me, right? One of the other important things, highlights, was I was able to do a TED Talk in 2018.
Brilliant.
Adapting with our changing environment and bringing up this issue with the single-use items and the hermit crab project. And so that really sparked things as well, right? By getting off of that TED Talk as well.
That's incredible. I didn't, I've watched a lot of TED Talks. If if you'd have popped up on the screen without me knowing that you'd done that, I'd have been like, what? Oh, that's brilliant. I'll have to look that up now.
I'll send you a link to it.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah. Send me a link. I'll include it in the post. It's definitely something that I'd like to see. So I'm sure others would as well. What keeps you motivated? I know that you said you're going to try and do this for at least 1,000. Have you got that much wind in your sails left?
For sure. For sure. I'm going to keep going and going. And now, I got my kids involved in it too. So during the night, they're down there to help me to find them. I had to slightly motivate them by, I paid my son, my daughter, 500 yen for every hermit crab they found with trash. Right. So we went up north, and in a matter of 35 minutes, we found 11.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And they were just excited. They were in front of me, and they just kept screaming and yelling because they were so happy. But obviously they were getting paid for it.
Yeah. She made like $55 right there.
Yeah. So before that, they didn't want anything to do with it, but, so that's how I got them involved. And now they want to go, so it's pretty cool. And we actually went last night, and we found only one adapting with plastic, but we traded that one out.
Brilliant. So it's pretty cool. That's nice. It's becoming a family thing. It's reason to go out. Excellent. So are you still doing your regular underwater photography? I know you're still photographing on land, but are you doing much underwater as well?
I haven't been doing much lately because of the COVID restrictions. Like every dive site, they have blocked off. They're not allowing a lot of things. So there's a lot of restrictions. Yeah, there's certain areas you could still go into, but that sort of slowed me down. And I really, I sort of haven't been feeling it as well, where like I said, you have to have a purpose or a mission or like a story to go after. And so I have to establish that first, or just some new technique.
Yeah.
So so that the COVID thing sort of slowed things down. That's why I've been going out at night to secluded beaches.
Yeah, I've got you. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely slowed things down. It's been pretty rough here as well with the the various. I mean, I haven't had a tour for a year and a half now, and it's starting to. I'm 30% thinking that there's maybe a 30% chance or so at the moment that next winter's tours can't go ahead as well. So I'm I'm going to be sending out an email to next year's clients pretty soon to let them know the situation. But it's it's not great, and it's amazing that we're we went into the first state of emergency here in Japan the day I finished the 2020 winter tours. Like, we just got through the third one, and then they started to try and lock us down, and it's amazing that like 18 months later we're still in the same situation. It's just crazy.
Yeah, it's still bad here. State of emergency still. So
Okinawa's been having a pretty rough time, haven't they? So I can understand that.
It's been pretty bad here.
So let's see. Was there anything else that you wanted to bring up before we start to wrap it up?
As far as highlights, one thing I forgot to mention was in 2017 I did have I had this cool photo exhibition called Nature Therapy at the Okinawa Institute of Science and Technology. And same thing, where I brought awareness to the endangered species, underwater work, and the hermit crab project. So that was pretty cool. And that got the news crew there and stuff like that. But a lot of times people, they would see, it's the good thing now, Martin, is this is becoming a trend now. Trash and pollution is becoming a trend. So now people are thinking it's cool to go clean up, which is awesome, right?
Yeah.
So now more people are getting inspired to go to these beach cleanups or do things. And so it's a trendy thing, and it's good because when next time you come out here, you're going to see how I'm going to take you to the most littered beaches, and you're going to see the dark side of Okinawa. And you're going to be like, I cannot believe this, from the microplastics to the large plastics. Like, literally every day when I walk the beaches, I take a minimum of 11 pieces of trash in my bucket, my green bucket with me at a minimum. So it's a nonstop effort, man.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's
amazing that you're doing that. And I wish you all the best for, for the ongoing success of your project, but also just for the sake of the oceans. You're doing a great job, and I hope it's something that becomes more and more popular on a regular basis. People.
It definitely will. Yeah. It will for sure. We'll make it.
Yeah. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is, I have obviously links to your nature photography website, your Instagram account, and everything. I'm just going to put all of these in the blog post, which is going to be at mbp.ac/753. So people will be able to go over and check that out.
Awesome.
Shawn, it's been absolutely wonderful catching up with you again.
For sure.
You mentioned, the next time I come to Okinawa, hopefully it won't be too long. I really did enjoy the time I spent with you when I was there before. It's the whole of the islands down there are just so beautiful, and the people as well. You and everyone that we hung out with, but also I love the culture. You mentioned the Ryukyu Islands in your bio. That I just love that whole thing. Even the music and the dancing and the family sort of interaction and stuff. So it's something that I want to spend a bit more time there and just relax. So it's we'll have to catch up again when I finally get back.
Yeah, that'll be great.
Yeah. Okay, well, really, thanks so much, Shawn, and I wish you all the best. And
thank you.
Stay in touch.
All right.
Take
care.
Thank you.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Right, bye.
I hope you enjoyed my conversation with Shawn. As I said in the introduction, the images and links and everything that are related to this post are at mbp.ac/753, so please check that out. Thanks very much for listening today. If you enjoy this podcast, please share a link with your friends. Subscribe in iTunes or your favorite podcast program to ensure uninterrupted delivery. If you have a moment to rate the podcast or leave us a review in iTunes, that helps to keep us relevant in the huge number of podcasts out there now. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter and LinkedIn, and links to everything that I'm up to are at martinbaileyphotography.com, so do drop by and take a look. I'll be back next week with another episode, but in the meantime, you take care and have a great week, whatever you're doing. Bye-bye.